everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Globe Interview Series. I'm your host Sunlight, and today I'm delighted to welcome onto the show Altan Tutar, partner engineer at NEAR. So, welcome.
Glad to be here.
It's a pleasure. So, let's jump right into things. The Globe mobile app is now live on the Apple App Store. Trade anytime, anywhere, with any asset as collateral. Stay connected with all your positions on the go. Globe, exchange everything, now even easier. Could you actually give us a bit of background info on yourself?
Sure. I'm Altan, and I grew up in Turkey, so we had this conversation. I have a background in computer science, so I built lots of different things. So I built VR software and research in 2016, 2017 when I was 19, 20. Then I got into AI ML during my master's. So I built deep learning research for robotics, actually at Imperial College London. And after I graduated, I got a job offer from Facebook. And at the time it was Facebook, actually. And I got introduced to a venture fund called Antler. And I was having a chat with the co-founder, and that sounded really interesting to me, like having the ability to kind of shift and influence startups and being able to help startups was really interesting to me. So I joined Antler as an analyst under the co-founder. So I was pretty much doing everything, right? So I built dashboards, operational things, but also built pitch decks and help startups. So it was more like a chief of staff role, really, trying to do as much as I can. After that, during that time, actually, I got into crypto a lot. I started learning Solidity, which is a programming language for EVM based blockchains. And I was just fascinated by the ability to transfer funds without a bank, because I grew up in Turkey, which there's a lot of inflation, and so I loved that, and I got really into it, and I've started to sort of explore other applications of Web3 crypto, got into GameFi, got into all sorts of different things, and I love developer tooling. And when I look at the sort of technology stack of different chains, I really loved NEAR. I was built by Ilya, who was actually the co-author in the Attention is All You Need paper, which is the transformer paper the GPT that everybody talks about today, in 2017. And I love the stack. I love the technology that they were building. I did the hackathon for NEAR in September, last September, in NEARCon in Portugal. I won that hackathon. And NEAR reached out to me, the foundation actually reached out to me to join the BD team. So that's my journey. And currently what I do at NEAR is helping partner integrations. So as a partner engineer, if, let's say, there are questions from Sweatcoin, which is one of our big partners, that will come to me. From the technical stack, but also do pre-sales engineering, which is basically going to go into pitch decks and helping our team members pitch NEAR. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you were saying earlier how you don't code or anything, but Solidity. So how useful is knowing a language in your current role?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So we compared NEAR a lot to other blockchains. So in that regard, I think knowing Solidity and EVM is very helpful for me in my job. But also Solidity in general, for anybody that's graduating today, I think it's a very good skill. There aren't that many Solidity developers. It's pretty helpful. I don't code, but knowing the landscape of things is very important, I think. Having the technical understanding in the BD team goes a long way. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Got to know what you're trying to sell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So next thing I wanted to talk to you about was, obviously we had Mark Sugden from NEAR a few months ago. So I'd like to know what has happened at NEAR since then. What have been new developments?
Yeah, so Mark used to be the head of BD at that time. Then you guys were talking to him. Now the BD team has completely shifted and changed. We actually brought Robbie, who joined us from Twitch, as a head of BD. Then we built we have two sort of teams in NEAR. So we have partnership acquisition, which is basically a technical, BD term of like, hey, we're just going to go and reach out to people and try to generate leads. That side of thing is just been grown to a lot of like pipelines. So like we'll have a gaming pipeline, we'll have a, I don't know, enterprise pipeline, that side of thing. And then I'm in the blockchain success team, which basically helps the partnership acquisition team, but also like helps after we close these deals, make sure that the integration is like we can do the integration along with our Pagoda side, which is our engineering sort of house. That has changed a lot. One of the things we do at Near, I think currently, is we're very transparent about things, like how much treasure we have. We even put our goals online. I don't think other layer one blockchains do. Like, we can talk about those too. I think there's like, we're doing a lot of transparency in how we use our funds, but also how the teams within Near are working towards those goals.
Awesome. So actually, can you expand a bit on the goal side?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can actually go to our website and see after this video as well. But for my team, for example, we're close to 1 million monthly active wallets on the Near blockchain. We're actually trying to get to 10 million monthly active users by the end of the year. And that should come with 3 large partnerships. So that was one of the goals. We're actually trying to do a lot of these landmark deals. And one of them was actually Group Interesa that we closed last year, which is the sort of food processing company in Latin America that has millions of active users. Another example is Sweatcoin, that is kind of like a Web2 app, but it fits very well with Web3 to a point that we brought Sweatcoin to Near. So those things that we like want to go into large partnerships in enterprise, gaming, sports, that could bring us users.
Right, amazing. So right now in this market, it seems like a lot of people are exiting crypto more so than joining it. So it must make your job a bit more difficult now, because you're supposed to bring people together, right? Right? So how's that experience been for you?
I think it's been a cleaning for the industry per se. Mm-hmm. I think it's just helps us to understand the use cases outside of the casino sort of like speculation, product market fit. That helps us a lot. So it makes our job hard, of course, but it forces us to think how we can bring crypto in other cases like enterprise. I think loyalty that we are pushing and seeing from the brands that we talk to, that there's an interest, because I think brands are aware that younger generation are a bit more crypto savvy, and given that, like it's I think that's one of the sales that we have. We also have a lot of these like use cases that we prepare that we're selling, so that I like this bear market, to be honest. I think it's pretty fun.
Yeah, and like, so a lot of people wouldn't say that. Wouldn't say it's fun.
Yeah.
But I guess to be in crypto, you have to kind of not be faint of heart, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's.
Yeah. And on that point, like I think there's this thing where, and I write about this on sort of my Twitter and LinkedIn as well, is the fact that like a lot of people shift, like people follow the narrative. And my thinking is that like if you follow the narrative, like you never capture anything, and you never capture like expertise in one field. That I've seen play out a lot. And like if you want to build something, if you believe in like the fundamentals of decentralization in crypto, I would invite everybody to stay and build stuff. I think it's the best time. But I'm also an engineer, so come from the engineering side of things. It's easier to say just to build, but.
Yeah, exactly. So you're not missing Antler at all?
I loved my time there. I think I worked with very smart people. I was actually an entrepreneur in residence, which gave me to kind of like build things that I wanted to build. But venture capital side, I like to be still involved with project. I'm still an advisor to one, but I think it's better to get building and then just go to venture capital from my side, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, when you were, basically a VC, did you go through crazy cycles like this, like in crypto?
Yeah, this is actually crazier. So I remember like one example when Luna was having that like meltdown. I was in a call with like Bessemer venture partners and their DAO, Steel DAO, talking about like Solidity and programming languages in crypto. They were very like shocked by like how this could happen. In venture is a bit more like different, right? So if you think about venture investments are very illiquid. You make them and you wait for them to return. So like you don't see them. It's the loop, like the feedback loop is not there. Like when you do something, if you've done a bad investment, you can't see that immediately. That irritated me a lot because like as a programmer, like if you're writing code, if you're debugging, you see the code that you're writing is terrible in a second. I hated that. But it's a different kind of investing, right? So it's like, it's a bit more like at Antler, we were investing into people, and you have to read people, right? You have to understand what their motivations are, what their backgrounds are. So it's different than like investing into pre-seed is different, like Series A and Series B and Series C where you have numbers. So that side I don't miss. I think the one thing I like is like the being able to network and being able to grow, you know, the people you know is very valuable in venture capital.
Yeah, amazing. So you seem to have, you know, been successful in another field anyway before that. So what was it about crypto specifically that made you want to jump industries?
Yeah, so when I graduated, I was pretty much had the skills to go to an AI machine learning job. Like I liked robotics. I hated like staying in the lab and playing with the hardware. And that's why it's like I published a paper in biology, like same thing, right? It's like stay in the lab, do pipette, and then like you go to robotics, it's the same, but like play with the hardware. Something about crypto that's very interesting is it combines so if you're like a diverse thinker, it combines every sort of academic subject that you can think about, right? Like you have like philosophy, you have computer science, mathematics, like game theory, like all of them combined is very interesting to me. Like the fact that you can build these systems on a computer is fascinating. You don't get that in AI. I mean, AI solves problems. It's a huge problem than crypto, in my opinion, but you don't get that, right? It's a bit different.
Yeah, sorry. So to speak more on AI solving problems in crypto, could you expand on that a little?
Yeah, that's something I'm actually thinking about. Like, how can we use like artificial intelligence, data science, all of those fields, right? Like one of the best things to know about is like the fact that everything is on chain allows you to sort of simulate and do a lot of these things, right? So like there are a lot of companies in that vertical, right? Like Flipside is one. I think like you have Dune Analytics and you have like multiple startup popping up there, and that's the reason why. I've been seeing people just saying like, can we use ChatGPT to trade? I wouldn't advise to do so because it's not always correct, right? Like if you go back to transformers, so people will explore that field. What will happen, of course, like I think there's also the real zero knowledge proofs that come in there that with decentralized AI, that you can build machine learning models that's like completely decentralized too, right? Like you can build incentives around that. So I think we'll see a lot of interesting startups around like decentralized AI and things like that people will explore. And that's again going the same after like the same thesis, right? Like the thesis is that like you have these central authorities that collect data, which is Amazon, whatever. And you can take that and sort of say, hey, like I don't want Amazon to hold my data. I want a distributed way of like building like machine learning models. I think that's very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm trying to get a little bit of alpha here, but is Near trying to delve into any of that artificial intelligence sector?
There have been some applications on Near that's been built that way. So one of the niche applications is the fact that like rewarding, this was one project I've seen, rewarding users to basically provide data. There's been application, but like I think what we're trying to do is pretty much like from the foundation side is to bring like enterprise, gaming, all of these big verticals that we believe in to near basically, right? Like it could be like Group Interessa that we've announced, and there's going to be way more hopefully in the pipeline. There are big deals that will come, and that those are all like, I think 2023 would be the game of like, let's forget about AI and all of that. Like like if there's a use case for us, of course, like Near Foundation would be willing to help that. But I think 2023 is going to be the user game. Like if you think about for the layer ones, because like we can't just keep up with like low activity, low monthly active users to like scale, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, wouldn't you say the low user activity at the moment is because of the market conditions at the moment?
If you look at like even last year and compare like those numbers to normal Web 2 apps, were just nothing, right? Like if, you know, Ethereum has 15 million monthly active users. That's like, basically Twitter has 250 million, right? Like, so, and that's like weekly active or something like that. So just closing that gap, I think we'll play the like monthly active user game all across Web3, because now a venture capitalist is going to say, well, do people use this, right? Of course, you can argue like the type of users are different, right? Like people that come to crypto might be quite like have different incentives, of course, than a Web 2 user. Like in a Web 2 app, you can just stay there and like scroll on Instagram, don't interact that much. But I think we'll see that game play out.
Yeah, awesome. So it seems like onboarding non-crypto natives is quite a big issue right now. So what is Near doing to help
Very good question. I think we're one of the best blockchains out there to do that. Like not only the users but developers. So like let's start with developers, right? So the way Near is built, if you combine it with EVM chains, we built it on WASM, which is WebAssembly, which runs the whole internet. Like there's thousands of developers that maintain it. It's open source. So we built Near in like that to run in WASM, and that allows us to have flexibility. We're not like stuck with Solidity, right? So we can basically build libraries and tools for other languages to write on WASM. So we built a Rust standard development kit, which allows people to write smart contracts in Rust. We also done JavaScript, right? JavaScript SDK, although it's not fully finished, it is going to allow like 15 million developers to build on Near. And I think it's only Tezos that's like a Python SDK. So it would allow us to sort of like scale, and like being able to like having people to build on Near is very great. And we can do like, so the bootcamp I'll lead on Saturday at LBS, like we'll use JavaScript, and like they don't need to know Rust, right? Which is a key. Like Rust is not taught in computer science, even computer science education today, that much, right? So that's one thing. The user side, we have a really easy to use wallet. Like wallet is not built into, like it's not a Chrome browser like MetaMask. It is, it's actually built into to the like application itself, which is great. And we've done this thing called like access keys, which is like a private public key, but you can actually have multiple access keys. So what you can do is like you can give a certain application certain rights to do certain things with your wallet. Let's say gaming application would do certain things. Like it's like a sort of like auth, like how we use auth in Web 2 is, you know, log in with Google and Facebook. We can do that with Near. We have also this thing called KeyBomb that we're building it internally, that like it allows sort of, you can do things on chain without actually getting a wallet yet. So that's like, you can do things progressively. You can get them in an NFT, but you don't have to claim that in a wallet. And that's something that we're working on. And like, to be frank, when we're talking with enterprises, that's something that people love it. Like it's because you don't have to be a crypto wallet holder to be able to use an application. And that's something key, I think, that we have done that will be helpful in the future.
That's so interesting. I mean, maybe one day you'll see like, you know, grandparents using Near.
Maybe. I mean, just like internet, right? It's one of the networks.
Exactly. So, right, we've been talking about, how you're trying to onboard non-crypto natives to Near. Can you tell us what is the importance of utilizing blockchain technology to make people's lives easier?
Yeah, so one of the things that, like, obviously, if you think back, one of the product market fit is definitely DeFi. Like being able to just have my keys and move, of course, the borders without going through the banking system is a very key. Of course, still the best thing. We're doing a lot of things on social side at the moment. So we have Near Social. That's basically like a social network built on Near. We're building something called Near Discovery. I can't disclose the details yet, but it would be like a blockchain operating system. So there will be just a world of like applications. That would be hopefully this year, like Q1, Q2, to be like announced, of course, but like it's announced, but the details of it has not been. On the other side, like if you think about the use cases of blockchain, I think royalty and rewards come there a lot, like just what did like Starbucks did in some way, and then being able to like take your points from this brand to that, like building the same story applies to gaming, right? Like you've been here for a while, you've collected rewards. How do you take that to the other brand? Those are the things that we're working on. Mainly, like there's a lot of applications of this in e-commerce. There's a lot of applications like on like SailGP, for example, one of the big, I think 7th biggest sport franchise. So we're building a DAO for them. And the cool thing about a DAO, if you look at the Formula One, it's actually like some of the teams are led by votes of the viewers. We'll do the same with like SailGP teams, right? So those use cases ownership is still there, I think, although people don't talk about it anymore because it was a bull run excitement. Those are definitely the use cases that we are addressing. And like enterprise and all of them, of course, I think the main thesis for us is like getting the royalty points.
Amazing. So you mentioned quite a few different areas of blockchain, like trends, if you will, that has been on Near recently. Could you maybe give us a forecast into what you think will be the next big trends?
I think social is definitely there. And then there's like, we've been seeing a lot of these like even social networks from different chains being aggregated into one. We've been seeing a lot. The one thing that we'll say is like, if you go to an EVM chain still, and if you like overcrowd a network with a game, that gas cost is still is going to affect the whole network. We don't have that. We have sharding, which is great. What else is out there? I think gaming is a huge thing that we're currently building on, like funding a lot of gaming startups too. And we've seen that like not only from crypto like gaming companies, but also like bigger traditional gaming companies too, which we're excited about. And I think we could be a very good shape for gaming for the reasons that I mentioned. But yeah, those are the things I'm thinking about. Social and gaming, coupled with sharding, is I think to scale is something I think that Near can win.
Awesome, yeah. So I asked you that question because you've got a VC brain almost. So your brain kind of works in this might do well or that might do well. So yeah, just a little curiosity.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you what we're seeing, and also like not only Near but outside of Near. There's a lot of like interesting sort of DeFi applications that I've been seeing. Like I genuinely like some of the traditional finance things being built on TradFi. One of the startups that I was pretty interested in is Vault Protocol, although not in Near, is actually bringing interest rate swaps, which is a huge industry. Other things I've been seeing is like there's a lot of royalty and payment startups, like loyalty startups, payment startups that are going, because loyalty makes sense for every blockchain. And I think there's enterprise interest. So there's a lot of startups there to be built, small, medium, large enterprises. So to be honest, the way I see it now is used to be this like niche thing where crypto like just, oh, like if you look at Ethereum Foundation's strategy, Ethereum Foundation doesn't have BD, right? Like things like, I think we're moving to a sort of side where we're becoming like high growth startups, right? So like you have to do business development, you have to do like marketing and all of that. So that's excites me, right? At least there's more just this crypto niche thing to enterprises. And we've been seeing that lately, right? Like I think BlackRock's, one of the CEOs went and they said like everything needs to be, like assets need to be tokenized, right? Like all of these will be on the blockchains because, or they're the blockchains that they will build. I don't know, but there's certain thing that, those are the applications we'll see. I mean, tokenized assets also make sense. So yeah, I'm excited for the enterprise and brands building on crypto.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. So can I ask, what are your next steps at Near?
So we're like basically reaching out to a lot of the brands and startups too. So getting those to build on Near would be great. Like I think we have a very good chance to sort of help people scale on the technical side too. And one of the things we do is like we help these applications too, right? Like we basically sit with them and say, hey, like this is how your architecture should look like. Next step for us is to hit those goals pretty much. Right now we have an ambitious goal. There's a lot of, so like my team has a different goal, then marketing has a goal, and those are all public. Maybe I haven't seen any other company that does that before, but I think we need to play that transparency game because we've got hit a lot recently, right? So I'm happy for that, like transparency and like enterprises building on Near. I think that's what we want to see this year.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching this episode. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to give us a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much, Altan, and I will see you next time. Bye.
See you next time.